Hey guys, how's it going? Oh, it's good to see you. Well, technically I can't see you, but you know what I mean. Are any of you guys in the mood for a story right now? Because I know I'm kind of in the mood for a story. Sometimes a story is just exactly what you need. And I think today I've got a really good story from Cottonwood Trails. And our story begins with our familiar friends, the animals of Cottonwood Trails, and of course Ranger Rob. And today, Ranger Rob got up and he looked outside and he saw that the sun was kind of bright and it was a really good day for something that hadn't been done in quite a while. And it was something that he knew the animals wouldn't really want to do, but he also knew that it was pretty important to get it done. And the thing that Rob wanted to do and get the animals to do was he wanted them to go and collect some moss. You see, in Cottonwood Trails, moss is used for a lot of different things. They use moss for like cooking with, sometimes. Not all moss is good to eat, of course, but they also use moss as like cushions for stuff, or sometimes they use it to seal in the holes in their houses so that it's nice and warm, all kinds of stuff. And it was pretty important that they got some more moss because they were running out. And so Rob said, okay guys, here's the thing. I know you're not going to want to do this, but would any of you guys maybe be willing to go out and get some moss for me today? And Rob also knew that he needed to keep the animals busy, so he wanted to make sure that they were busy and weren't getting into trouble. Well, no sooner had he suggested this when who should pop up but Matilda. She pipes up and she is not happy. Man, Rob, why we always gotta go collect moss for you? Why can't you just go out and collect moss yourself? Well, Matilda, it's important that, we have something to do. Because if we're just sitting alone, sitting by ourselves and sitting doing nothing, then we're probably going to get bored and we're going to figure out ways where we can get ourselves into trouble.
Man, I don't think that I would get in trouble, Rob. I mean, I'm pretty good at standing around by myself. And, sometimes when I'm by myself, that's actually when I have the best conversations.
The best conversations? Morton, you're by yourself.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I am a great conversationalist.
No, Morton, that doesn't make any sense. Oz, Frank, are you guys okay to go collect moss and take these two with you?
Well, I don't really like collecting moss that much. Usually I collect nuts and stuff, but I guess so. I could give it a try. Come on, guys, let's go. Frank, are you coming?
As long as I can bring my Coke, I'll do whatever.
As you guys probably know, Frank loves his Coca-Cola. And off they went, the four animals, off into the woods to collect moss for Rob. Well, they got out there, and they were looking for moss everywhere, and it was mostly Oz, because he was really good at searching for stuff, and he was going crazy all over the place.
Whoa, look, there's moss over here!
And he climbed up into the tree.
Whoa, look, there's moss over here, too! It's everywhere, you guys! Come on, hurry up!
And Oz was just going crazy. Matilda was still complaining a little bit. She understood, they needed moss, but she was still a little bit mad about it.
Man, I don't know why that boy can't just go collect moss himself. And Oz, would you stop running around? Y'all are giving me a headache.
Well, Morton's job was to hold on to the moss. And as the other animals went and collected it, Morton was standing there and he had a huge pile of the moss. And he looks down at it and he goes,
Man, I don't know what in the world this stuff is. What did you say it is again?
Oh, it's moss.
Moss. Mm-hmm. So, what in the world are those little flying things then? Because those are moss as far as I know.
Man, those are not... that's not mosses. Those are moths. Moths, Morton, moths. Come on, boy. You got your words all mixed up again.
Oh, moth. So then, what's a butterfly?
Butterflies, you know what? Just hold on to that moss and keep yourself quiet, boy. I don't want to deal with you no more.
Well, a lot of the day went like this. And the animals were out collecting moss. They were not enjoying it, but they knew, it was probably a good idea to have something to do. Well, they were out there collecting. They were out there searching for moss and doing all kinds of looking for it, and they were doing a pretty good job. And all of a sudden, Oz the squirrel stopped in his tracks.
I think there's some moss somewhere. Whoa! Do you guys smell that?
The animals all stopped, And they sniffed the air.
Whoa. Yeah, I do smell that. Morton, buddy, did you remember to brush your teeth today?
I think so. But, sometimes I forget, and to be honest with you, that smell could definitely be me. But no, I'm pretty sure I brushed my teeth today. Yep, no, I'm 100% sure. Wait, which one's brushing your teeth again? Is that the one where you put stuff in your ears?
Man, no, it is not the thing where you put stuff in your ears. Did you brush your teeth? With a brush on your teeth?
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely did that today. This can't be my breath. It's something else. Woo! And you know what? I think that's even too stinky for me.
Boy, that is really stinky. Oh! Does anyone know what that could be? I don't know. I've never smelled it before, but I think we should maybe tell Rob.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to tell Rob. Let's go.
Well, the animals ran back to the clearing as fast as they could. They had no idea what the smell was, and they were pretty worried. Well, they got to Rob, and they told Rob what they had smelled, and they told Rob, that they were in the middle of collecting moss, and all of a sudden this terrible smell had come. And Rob was stumped. Huh. That's kind of weird. I mean, you say it smelled like really gross stuff. Morton, did you brush your teeth today?
Yeah, we already talked about this. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's none of the smelly plants this time of year. I don't know. What? Wait a second. I wonder if it's... And before Rob could even finish his sentence, all of a sudden the smell was back. And Oz the squirrel...
There it is! I can smell it again! Rob, you smell it?
Uh-oh. I do smell it. And you know what? I think I know exactly what it is. And Rob went to the bushes. And he moved the bushes aside. And what was there? It was a skunk! Oh! The animals all screamed at the same time, skunk! Oh, and the smell was terrible, and there hadn't been a skunk around that area for a very long time. Well, the animals all stepped back, and they looked at the skunk, and the skunk kind of wandered out, and he was kind of a nice-looking skunk. But skunks are very smelly, as you probably know. And the skunk wandered out, and he just goes,
Yeah, that's the reaction I always get. My name's Trent the skunk, and, well, I guess you can figure out that I kind of smell pretty bad. And to be honest with you, I've been wandering around looking for animals that'll be my friend, 'cause, well, I stink.
Yeah, you stink, boy. You smell worse than Morton's breath after 5 days of not brushing his teeth.
Yeah. Wait, have I ever gone that long? Whoa. That would be terrible. Yeah, you do smell pretty bad. That would be a pretty awful smell, and I think you're pretty close.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it, but it's just something about me, and no one else wants to ever be around me.
Well, I don't think we really want you around either there, Trent. You smell really bad.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'll keep wandering, searching for people who will be my friend.
and Trent turned around and was just about to leave. Well, Rob stopped him in his tracks. Whoa. Wait a second, Trent. You wait right there. Guys, what are you doing?
What do you mean, what are we doing? We're telling the stinky skunk to go away.
Yeah, that's a problem. You guys can't just tell Trent to get out of here.
Well, why not? He stinks. He smells really bad.
I know that, you guys, but that's no reason to send him away. Maybe he needs a friend. He does need a friend. We just heard him say that to us. I don't think we should send him away, guys. The animals didn't want to hear any of it. Well, Rob was pretty disappointed, and he was pretty upset. And when Rob wants to teach the animals something when they're not really catching it, Rob always pulls out 3 items. And some of you guys might know what 3 items. And if you know what 3 items Rob always pulls out when he wants to teach the animals something, then yell it out right now. That is correct, I think. I don't actually know what you yelled. But if you said notepad, pencil, and most importantly, his Bible, then you're right. That is exactly right. And Rob loves to teach the animals from God's Word, the Bible. Well, Rob turned in his Bible to John chapter 8. In John chapter 8 has a pretty cool story in it. And as you guys may or may not know, Rob loves to draw pictures. And so Rob would draw some pictures, and the animals watch the pictures. They like seeing Rob draw them, and he draws them very quickly, so they're kind of sketchy and they're very quickly drawn. And Rob started drawing some pictures and started telling the animals about the story in John chapter 8. And we're going to listen in to Rob as he teaches the animals. Alright, so Rob started telling the story about Jesus. And Jesus was an amazing teacher, and people loved to hear what Jesus had to say. Well, most people, not all people, love to hear what Jesus had to say. But the ones who are really smart love to hear what Jesus had to say, because Jesus would tell them things that they needed to know. Jesus would tell them some stuff about God, and he'd tell them about the stuff that we can read about in the Bible. And he would teach people in those days when he walked on the earth. And Jesus was in the middle of teaching all these people one day. And all of a sudden, this big commotion happened. And out came these men, and they had this woman. And they dragged her out, and they threw her down on the ground in front of Jesus. Well, this doesn't sound very nice at all, does it? They threw this woman there, and they said, Jesus, this woman was caught doing something terrible. And they said, you know what the law of the land is. The law says that we should stone her. Whew. Well, if you guys don't know what stoning someone is, it's pretty scary. Stoning is when they used to pick up these big stones, these big rocks, and they'd throw them at people until that person died. That's pretty scary. And they would do it whenever someone did something really bad. And that's what their law told them to do. It was pretty scary back then. And I'm glad they don't still do that now, but yeah, that's what they did. And so they said, this woman was doing something terrible. We need to kill her by throwing stones at her. And they said, Jesus, what do you say? We should do this, right? And the people, the men, they were trying to trap Jesus. They didn't like Jesus. They were some of the people that didn't like his teaching. And they were trying to trap him into saying something that would get him into trouble. Well, we're going to read straight from the Bible what happened next. So here's my Bible right here, and if you have yours, you can follow along with me. In John chapter 8, and we're going to start at verse 6. So this is what Jesus did when the men were trying to trap him. They were trying to trap him into saying something they could use against him, but Jesus stooped down and wrote in the dust with his finger. They kept demanding an answer, so he stood up again and said, all right, but let the one who has never sinned throw the first stone. Then he stooped down again and wrote in the dust. And the Bible doesn't say what he wrote in the dust, but it must have been something pretty cool. When the accusers heard this, they slipped away one by one, beginning with the oldest until only Jesus was left in the middle of the crowd with the woman. Then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? And this is pretty cool. No, Lord, she said. And you know what Jesus said? Neither do I. Go and sin no more. So I love that. That's pretty cool. So Jesus is put in this difficult situation. What we would think is difficult, but for Jesus it's not. And they're telling him, we got to obey the law, right? And they're trying to trap him. And Jesus, we don't know what he put in the dust. We don't know what he wrote on the ground. But we do know that he said that anybody who has never done anything wrong can throw a stone at this woman. And Jesus wasn't actually saying, hey, it's okay to throw stones at this woman. He was saying that he knew that everybody there had done wrong. And the Bible tells us that all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And sin is that bad stuff that we do, right? Sin is when we disobey our parents, or when we lie, or when we get angry at our brother or sister and we maybe punch them or something like that. That's all the bad stuff that we know we shouldn't do. And the Bible calls that sin. And Jesus said, if you've never sinned, if you've never done anything wrong, you can throw a stone. Because he knew everybody had done bad things. Everybody was in the same boat. They had all sinned and fallen short of God's glory. And so one by one, those people all walked away. They knew that they couldn't throw a stone because they had all done bad stuff themselves. They were all judging this woman for doing something bad when really they weren't any better. So one by one they left, and when Jesus turns to the woman, he goes, "Oh, there's no one here to throw stones at you? There's no one here to condemn you?" She says, "No." He says, "Neither do I. Go and sin no more. Go and stop doing the bad stuff. Don't keep doing the bad stuff. Don't keep doing what you know is wrong. But I don't condemn you. I don't judge you. I don't think that you're worse than anyone else just because of what you did." And you know what? Jesus says the same thing to us. He does. He says, "You know what? You guys have all done bad stuff. But I still love you. And I still want you as part of my family." And the Bible tells us that if we believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and we believe in what he says, and we believe in what he's done for us, which, by the way, he died for us. He died to pay the price for all those bad things that we've done. The Bible says if we believe that, then guess what? We can start that relationship with Jesus. We can come to God, and there's nothing stopping us from getting to God anymore because that bad stuff from before is gone. Jesus died for it. If we put our trust in him, all that bad stuff can be washed away. And then we can stop doing bad stuff just like that woman, and we can follow Jesus. And you know what? Jesus is ready to love and accept everyone who comes to him. He just says, turn away from the bad stuff that you're doing. Look to me. Believe in me. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. Jesus is ready to love and accept you. You just got to turn and come to him. Well, Rob looks at the animals. And if you've ever heard Cottonwood Trails before, you know that when Rob has done the lesson and he looks at the animals, he always asks them if they kind of figured out the lesson. And without fail, every time, Morton the Badger always thinks he knows what Rob is trying to teach them. And pretty much every time, he's wrong. And once again, Morton speaks up.
Yeah, this is an easy one, Rob. I know exactly what you were trying to teach us here.
Oh, okay, Morton. What was I trying to teach you? Why did I tell you this story?
Well, I think that what you were trying to teach us there, Rob, was that, there was some crazy stuff going on. That lady was there and they all wanted to throw rocks at her. But Jesus, he knew exactly what to do. He drew something in the ground. And I think that there's some special symbol that he drew that everybody knew was a symbol of don't throw rocks. And so I think that you're trying to teach us this special symbol so that the next time someone's like, hey, let's chuck rocks at Morton, I can be like, no way, man. Draw that symbol on the ground, boom. All of a sudden, you can't throw no rocks at me, I got a special symbol. And they'll be like, man, nuts. I wonder who taught him that. And I'll say, Rob, Ranger Rob. That's who taught me. And I'll be very thankful for that, Rob. So please just teach us a symbol now and we'll be good to go.
What? No, Morton, what are you talking about? That's not at all the lesson.
What? How is that not the lesson? Is there no... Why would you not teach us a secret symbol, Rob?
There is no secret symbol, Morton, for stopping people from throwing rocks at you. That's just silly. No. Jesus, what we're supposed to learn from this is that Jesus helped this woman. She had done something bad. She had disobeyed the law, and she really did some pretty awful stuff. But Jesus, he didn't care about that. He saw her as someone who needed him, as someone who needed a friend in a sense, and the ultimate friend, because Jesus is really the best friend we could ever have. And Jesus, he accepted that woman. He brought her in, and he even though she was really bad, and even though she had done bad things, he wanted to help her. And you guys, Rob says to the animals, are here with Trent the skunk, who has just asked if he could hang out with us, if he could just be our friend for the day or something like that. We don't even know anything about him, and you guys have basically just told him to get lost. Why? Because he stinks. Well, it's not his fault. He's a skunk. That's the way God made him. He just smells kind of funny. But you guys are treating him like he's done something really awful, and I think that that's kind of not the way you should be acting. Do you guys kind of get what I'm getting at here? And The animals, they knew that Rob was right. And it was Oz the squirrel who spoke up and said,
Yeah, I guess we could get to know Trent. It seems like he needs a friend pretty bad, and, well, okay, Trent, you can hang out with us for today.
well, Trent the skunk, who was still standing there, he turned around.
Really? You guys want to hang out with me, even though I smell so bad?
And Matilda the porcupine was the next one to speak up. And she goes,
Man, I guess we could hang out with you, but boy, you better watch it because you smell real bad. And wait a second, I got an idea.
and with that, Matilda ran off towards her home. Well, no sooner had she left than she ran all the way back, and she had something with her. Clothespins. Now, clothespins, if you know anything about them, are the things that you hang your clothes with on the clothesline. I don't know if maybe you guys have never even seen that happen anymore. Not a lot of people still hang their clothes on clotheslines, but Matilda had come back with these clothespins, and she goes,
I got a great idea of how we can hang out with Trent and we don't have to smell him no more.
and she put the clothespin right on her nose, and guess what? She couldn't smell a thing.
Man, with this like this, we can hang out with Trent and we don't even have to deal with his bad stench.
And she gave one to all the animals, and she only actually had 4, so Rob didn't even get one. But she kind of gave a little look to Rob, and she said,
Now you're gonna have to practice getting used to the smell. You should probably get used to it anyway there, Ranger Boy, am I right?
yeah, you're right, Matilda. I don't mind the smell. I gotta get used to skunks because they're one of the creatures of the forest, and I need to be just as much in charge and helping the skunks as I do with everyone else. Well, with that, the animals all had their clothespins, and Rob and Trent and all the animals went and started playing games. And you know what? They had a great day. They went down to the pond, and they played all kinds of games. They had so much fun, and the absolute favorite one that they loved playing was Marco Polo. If you guys have never played Marco Polo, it's super fun. You're all in the water, and one person has their eyes closed and they go Marco, and everyone else has to go Polo, and the person with the eyes closed has to go and find everybody, and they had so much fun. So much fun. And they would have missed out on all of that if they had told Trent to go away. And they made a great friend in Trent that day. And Trent was so happy to have a group of friends. And at the end of that day, when Trent was on his way back to his home in a different part of Cottonwood Trails, he looked at them and he said,
Thank you so much for being my friend today.
and the animals, they looked back at Trent, and Oz the squirrel said,
You know what, Trent? You can come back any time, buddy.
and Trent did. He would come back on a regular basis, and the animals always had their clothespins ready. They'd put them on, and they would always have a great time with Trent. Well, that is the end of our story for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully it helps us to remember the lesson that we learned from the story, which is that Jesus accepts everyone who comes to him, and that includes you. So if you put your trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, if you believe in him, you can join in the family of God. You can have a relationship with God. You can come to Jesus and be a part of that family in the same way. And also, we can remember that if Jesus accepts everyone who comes to him, we should too. So maybe there's someone that that you can think of that might need a friend and might need someone to be a friend to them. And maybe that person doesn't have a lot of friends because they might smell like Trent, or maybe they, just aren't very friendly, or they don't really know how to talk to people very well. And there's a lot of people like that, but they need friends too. So hopefully you can remember that, and hopefully you guys had a great time. And I'll see you next time with another story, with another tale from Cottonwood Trails.